The Octopus, A Story of California by Frank Norris. Book 1. Chapter 1. Just after passing Caraha's saloon, on the county road that ran south from Bonneville, and that divided the Broderson Ranch from that of Los Muertos, Presley was suddenly aware of the faint and prolonged blowing of a steam whistle that he knew must come from the railroad shops near the depot at Bonneville. In starting out from the ranch house that morning, he had forgotten his watch, and was now perplexed to know whether the whistle was blowing for 12 or for 1 o'clock. He hoped the former. Early that morning he had decided to make a long excursion through the neighbouring country, partly on foot and partly on his bicycle, and now noon was come already, and as yet he had hardly started. As he was leaving the house after breakfast, Mrs. Derrick had asked him to go for the mail at Bonneville, and he had not been able to refuse. He took a firmer hold of the cork grips of his handlebars, the road being in a wretched condition after the recent hauling of the crop, and quickened his pace. He told himself that, no matter what the time was, he would not stop for luncheon at the ranch house, but would push on to Guadalajara and have a Spanish dinner at Solitari's, as he had originally planned. There had not been much of a crop to haul that year. Half of the wheat on the Broderson Ranch had failed entirely, and Derrick himself had hardly raised more than enough to supply seed for the winter's sowing. But such little hauling as there had been had reduced the roads thereabouts to a lamentable condition, and during the dry season of the past few months, the layer of dust had deepened and thickened to such an extent that more than once Presley was obliged to dismount and trudge along on foot, pushing his bicycle in front of him. It was the last half of September, the very end of the dry season, and all Tulare County, all the vast reaches of the San Joaquin Valley, in fact all south-central California, was bone dry, parched, and baked and crisped after 4 months of cloudless weather, when the day seemed always at noon and the sun blazed white-hot over the valley from the Coast Range in the west to the foothills of the Sierras in the east.